YouTube, how are you now? So I was combing through some old videos of my time in Warzone back on Verdansk, and I figured now would be a good time to go over what I liked about Warzone, what I didn't like, and my hopes for Warzone 2, since Modern Warfare 2 and Warzone 2 and all that is right around the corner, just a few months away. They haven't given a specific release date for Warzone. They have given the release date of October 28th for Modern Warfare 2, but they said Warzone 2 would be coming this year, so I mean, it could be right around the time Modern Warfare 2 releases, or maybe November, December, depending on how long it takes them to get it up and running. But yeah, I liked Warzone in the beginning, so I really liked Modern Warfare 2019's modern setting, the gunplay, the realistic type approach to the game. I really liked the setting of the game. Same with Warzone. The map was pretty cool. It wasn't perfect, but I mean there was a lot of variety for different play styles. You could just land wherever you wanted to get a totally different approach to the game. So cities, out in the open, the quarry, smaller towns spread out throughout the map. I think the map overall was pretty good. Big enough for 150 players. So the 150 players, I don't think was either a negative or a positive, but the map definitely was made for 150 players. So you can spread out a little bit. So if you wanted to hot drop, you could. There were plenty of hot drops like Superstore and all that kind of stuff. And then if you didn't want to hot drop, you wanted to drop somewhere a little bit more secluded, loot, get ready before fights, you could do that as well on the outskirts. So that was cool. The Gulag, I like the idea of the Gulag. I think they should probably keep that, even though I don't think it was perfect, but at least it gives players a way to get back into the game pretty quickly, at least the first time you die, and then the buyback system and all that. So that was a good addition as well. You definitely need the ability to come back in the game. Battle royales of old, where once you died you're dead, couldn't come back at all. That doesn't really work anymore, especially if the games last 20, 30, 40 minutes. You die early on, then you're just sitting there waiting, especially if you're playing with a group. If you're playing by yourself, I mean, you can back out or whatever, but playing with a group kind of sucks if you die early. So the buyback system was good. The loadout system, I like that as well. It had its ups and downs. I think it led to a very specific meta, but I think that's more a weapon balancing issue than it was a loadout issue. So if they can create a more meaningful meta across all their weapons, then the loadout system isn't a bad thing. So, because part of the problem with battle royales is the RNG of the loot. So I mean, some people might get really good guns, whereas some people might get absolutely horrible guns. So that doesn't really work too well. But the loadouts solved a lot of that. So you just had to get enough money to buy a loadout or wait until that initial loadout drop. So I like that system. Doesn't mean they can't improve on it, but I like the system in general. And then Plunder was a good thing as well. So I mean, if you didn't buy the base full price game, so Modern Warfare at the time, Cold War, whatever, you still had a way of leveling up the guns, trying them out without actually having to go into real battle royale matches. So Plunder wasn't perfect either, but it was a nice alternative to be able to just level up your guns and just mess around, see how things work, test certain things without the added pressure and the high stakes of battle royale. So that was good. Rebirth, the smaller map, Resurgence, faster pace was definitely a good addition later on. Sometimes battle royales can be a little slow, a little boring at times, depending on how the lobby ends up playing out. So Rebirth was a nice way to refresh it, if you wanted to get into the action quickly, you just wanted more fast pace with the same battle royale concept. So those were all good things. And then like the mini events that they didn't do too many throughout the life cycle, but like Mini Royale, Juggernaut was another one of them. I forget what some of the other ones were, but some nice little limited time events to spice things up. The Halloween zombies, that was cool. So those are always good. It's unfortunate that they didn't bring them as often as I would have liked, or maybe make them permanent, but I mean that's how limited time things go. Time modes go, so maybe they weren't popular enough to keep long term, or maybe they just wanted to create excitement at certain times throughout the game's life cycle. But those were all good things that I did enjoy. So Warzone overall, I thought in concept was really well done, but there were quite a few things that turned me off from the game fairly quickly. The main thing being hidden skill matching. So in a battle royale, it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense to have skill matching due to the RNG nature of the entire experience. So I mean, if everybody's around the same skill level and you have a large variety in the weapon choices, so if one player gets a good gun, another player gets a bad gun off the drop, and they're both around similar skill, the player with the better gun is going to win 99% of the time. So that took away a lot of the RNG nature of the game, and really forced the loadout issue. So a lot of times in my lobbies, players would avoid fights until they got their loadouts, because if you didn't have very good guns off the drop, you knew you were already at a disadvantage, because skill matching was trying to make your opponents around your skill level. So skill matching was the major issue. I don't think Warzone 2 should have skill matching at all, at least not to the degree that it was in Modern Warfare and Warzone, because if that's the case, I probably won't play Warzone 2 very much, if at all. So there's really no incentive to play if they have strict skill matching and it's all completely hidden. If they want to do that in like a ranked mode, where they show the skill ratings, the MMR, all that kind of stuff, that's perfectly fine. But there should be a casual mode that has either no skill matching at all, or very loose skill matching that only protects like the lower skill bracket and the new players. So those players who wouldn't be able to do much of anything against the average majority, sure, have a protected bracket for them, but everybody else, no. There's really no point to it. What else? Another potential issue that I could see problems with is how they handle integrations of future games. So Modern Warfare 2 and Warzone 2 are going to be tied together, but if Warzone 2 continues through to the next game like they did with Cold War, that integration has to be better than they did with Cold War. So I think the Cold War integration really started to make me lose interest in the game as well, on top of the skill matching, simply because the guns, the skins, all that kind of stuff just didn't match the quality of Modern Warfare. So I didn't buy Cold War or play Cold War multiplayer at all, simply because it felt like a step back from Modern Warfare, going back into an earlier time period with older guns. The skins were kind of funky, the guns were kind of ugly, the animations weren't nearly as good. So the quality of the game and the visuals from Cold War just weren't up to snuff, and when they integrated that into Warzone, I feel like it really detracted from that experience, took me out of the game quite a bit, especially when I was used to the higher quality of the Modern Warfare weapons and that kind of stuff. So if they're going to integrate future titles beyond Modern Warfare 2 into Warzone 2, they have to be really careful about that and make sure they don't detract from that original aesthetic. Supposedly they're using the same engine across the board from here on out in all future titles, so that should help, but even the tone of the games makes a difference too. So Modern Warfare was a lot more gritty, a lot more realistic, and then Cold War had all kinds of weird, colorful, bright skins and camos and operators and all that kind of stuff. So it was a complete contrast. I didn't really feel like it fit with the tone of Modern Warfare and Warzone. But yeah, I really hope they expand on and maybe even improve on the innovation of the original Warzone, the original Modern Warfare, and then either pull back on or even completely remove maybe some of the elements that detracted from the experience, the negative experiences. So I really do hope they move away from hidden skill matching, at least in some of the modes. If they want to have ranked, that's fine. But outside of that, I really hope they don't have skill matching. And then they are planning on implementing bots and that kind of stuff. 300 bots to 100 players. So I mean, that could add some interesting twists as well, and hopefully that means they're moving away from the skill matching to a degree, but we'll just have to wait and see. But yeah, I'm excited for it. I really hope they make it for everybody and not just catered to specific, like the casual majority. So as long as there's something for everybody, I think it could be good, but we'll just have to wait and see how that turns out. But yeah, thanks for watching yet again. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.